We're now joined by this year's Professor Ibsen Lecturer, Professor Jean-Louis Vincent. Jean-Louis, thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have you here. I wonder if you could start by telling us about your lecture, because the title of it is Past, Present and Future of Intensive Care Medicine. What are some of the key topics that you're touching upon?
It was indeed a very broad topic. I love intensive care medicine. There is a lot to say about it. But we started from the very beginning, a little bit of history about how respiratory support could start. And then, of course, I alluded to Professor Ibsen, who developed the first ICU in Europe at time of the polio epidemics in the early 1950s. And so from there have been a number of technological developments and improvement in processes. So we have gone a long way since today, and a lot to say about the future and the importance of further developments in technology.
And we'll talk about the future in just a moment, but maybe first I could just touch upon the last 3 years, because of course that's been a transformative period with COVID for intensivists and for the medical field as a whole. What lessons have been learned from that period?
I summarized it in a paper where we alluded to the 4 P's of preparation, progress, personalization and prioritization. And clearly we will need to have more beds that could be open as ICU beds. We call them silent ICU beds. We could make more progress in the development of new medication. Personalization is important. The question is not, is it ARDS, as we call it, or not? It's personalized therapy, and prioritization raises a number of ethical issues. Who could come to the ICU? Who could be mechanically ventilated? Who could go on extracorporeal support, ECMO? And so these are different elements. But of course, at the end of the pandemics, we can be very proud of what we have achieved.
So moving forward then, what do you think the future holds for critical care medicine?
Oh, it's amazing. So with artificial intelligence in the future, we will be helped by computerized systems that will really help to recognize the right patient for the right intervention. So that's really very exciting. And I also alluded to treatments that could be somewhat automated, like fluid administration with closed loops. You give fluids, you see how the patient responds. If the patient seems to benefit, you give more fluids.
So you mentioned a lot of technical elements there, the AI and other technical elements. What other advances, maybe in clinical research or in physician training or medical practices, do we need to take place to support that endeavour?
I'm very pleased that you raised that point, because people tend to think in terms of technology when you speak about ICU, about new respirators, new machines, new monitoring devices. But it's not just machines. We need to have the right people working there and the right support. The machines will not replace us. That's very important. We should not think at AI as something that will replace human beings. No, it should be controlled, because it will really help. So the training should include it.
And just to finish, just taking it back to the theme of your presentation, past, present and future, the speed of change over that period, how is that pace going through kind of the life?
Clearly, the pace has changed over the years. Initially, it went rather slowly, and we made relatively little progress, although it was primarily through the organ support, the respirators, the cardiovascular drugs, the defibrillators, etc., that we make progress. And then over time, it started to go faster. In terms of how to personalize our approach, that is really changing very, very fast. Yeah.
And you feel optimistic for that?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. Let's meet again in 2 years from now. The world will be totally different and much better.
Well, I will certainly look forward to that, Jean-Louis. Until then, thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.